Good. You know, when you're beginning something like this work, I mean, here you are beginning this afternoon. You could be beginning a recital with the Schubert as well. It's a very demanding piece, of course, technically demanding and difficult. What is it that you're concentrating on? When you start with that first note, what are you, I'm always interested in what somebody is thinking about. What are you thinking about when you start?
I don't know.
Are you thinking about that note? Are you thinking about the relationship to the piano? Are you thinking about your sound? Are you thinking about the phrase and its shape?
This time I thought about the sound, I think.
Sound.
Yeah. Sound and the flowing.
Mm-hmm. How long is the first phrase?
It's long. I don't remember.
Well, you have it there?
Yeah.
So how many bars is it?
In bars. And 12.
To where? Right. So we've gone from this A to that A. So I should get, speaking of A. It's higher here than Tel Aviv, yes? All right, so within the 12 bars, obviously we have things that are happening. And so you start with the A. Don't you want to take us back to that A? As a first step in this phrase? You understand what I mean?
No.
Well, you played more. So I heard a lot of individual things, but I didn't hear you take us from the beginning of this A back to that A. Yeah? So let's start just with that. Let's think about that part of the phrase. You see, I mean, look, I think it's very good that you want to do something with that C. I think that's good. But maybe not to stop the phrase, to do it. You told me you were going longer than that in the phrase, didn't you?
Okay.
But you go ba 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 dee da 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 dee da dum la dee o Yeah? Can you carry? In other words, beautiful the first part. And now I understood how that A was beginning to develop. But I asked myself, is it for a musical reason that you took the amount of time you did to go to the E, or was it a technical thing?
I think it's technical.
From that C upbeat? When you get, I mean, so I saw several little pieces. I'd like to see the whole piece, yes, from that E. There still was a break. When you go from this lower, you see? You do this with your left hand. So if we did a duet, I love to do duets. If we do a duet, I'm going to play dee-da-dum, and you come from that E. Yeah? Ready? But you didn't take the motion that I gave to you. Dee-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah? I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but... No, I hear... Okay, play all of it from the top E. Tee-da-da. Well, already for the C, Are you changing the bow after the E? What are you doing? I'm not... You change on the A. But feel that whole arpeggio taking us down to the D and bouncing from that to the F. Okay, try another bowing. Just make one up. Do another bowing. Don't change on the A. Okay, so this is touching on something. I started with this question of what you were thinking about and the fact that this is a musical phrase and we agree how long the phrase is. But there was something that I noticed throughout the movement, and now is a good time to talk about it. And that is that your left hand doesn't seem to be disciplined enough on the fingerboard. And you're making many concessions musically because of that. Do you understand what I'm meaning? Because you're a little insecure with the hand, so then you... But if you felt confident, you could just move. And part of it is when you move from one position to another, that you anticipate. It's such an important idea that you anticipate the new position. You stay, from what I heard, I mean, I heard you for a few minutes, so I apologize. This is what I heard. That you tend to stay locked in the previous position and then you try to move. So something like that. Instead of you don't have to keep your hand here. That's where you're going, to fourth position. So could you just do that for me from the A? You see what I mean? You collapse a little bit with your hand. So right. There's so many examples of this. I mean, one of the things I love is tennis. Do you play tennis? Do you like tennis? Do you like it, or do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't play it. Okay. But I love tennis. And there have been some fantastic tennis champions, obviously, in my lifetime. But one of the greatest is living right now in our lifetime, and that's Roger Federer. And what I love about him is that he's an artist on the court. He has this sense of anticipation that I've rarely seen from any sportsman. In other words, somebody hits the ball over there, and he already is on, before they've even hit the ball. It's like he knows where it's going, and he's already, so when he gets to the ball, he's totally balanced, and he just hits it back. Whereas most of us would be waiting to see where the ball's going. Then we would go running, and we would lunge at the ball and hope that it's going to go back. And even many wonderful tennis players play that way. But he has that sense of anticipation. And going with that is balance. When you did come back to fourth position, you weren't balanced with your hand. So to play the E and then the C, you had almost three positions. One position. Mm-hmm. So if you were going to play, if you were going to play, for example, in fourth position, and you were just going to stay on the A string, how would you play that? Even there, you did. But you're going to come from a little farther because you're on a thumb. All right, let's try something else. Another pattern when you get to fourth position. So you see, when you play that second finger, it collapses. Mm-hmm. So that what I'm, obviously we don't have a lot of time here, but if you practiced knowing what position you're going to go to, we know with your fingering you're going to come to fourth position, right? So instead of just practicing 1,000 times, that you practice going to fourth position, not just to the first finger, not just to that E, to every note in fourth position, so that you know the territory, you know that whole position, and you could play anything in it, not just the one note. Because right now, what I'm feeling is, firstly, you're a little slow, you're not anticipating to go to the new position, and when you get there, you're not balanced to be able to play all the notes in the position. So I really think that would help a lot. And this piece, of course, over and over, that's technically what we're dealing with. The left hand has to, make all these jumps and et cetera, et cetera. So you want to be in a position to feel confident with all of those changes. Yeah? Okay, I've said a lot. Let's start once more from the beginning of the movement. And see if you can build that line the way you said you feel it goes. Please, yeah. Okay, it was better, much better. I mean, going to the F up here, you weren't quite, I noticed it when you played through before too. Yeah, ta. How are you finding it? Yes? So let me hear you play da-da-dum. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? Now it really, you were doing the right thing in your head, but you weren't doing it with your hand. Yeah? Now you did it with your hand, and the F was right there. Okay. In this cadence here at the end of our long first phrase, these notes, is that for you a part of the melody? Is that part of the melody? Is that the way it's written? No. So, as best we understand, obviously this isn't a manuscript, and frankly, I haven't seen a manuscript either. But what does it look like from what you see there on the page? What are those four notes? Ornaments. Exactly. How about playing them more like an ornament? Okay. Meaning, well, what do I mean by that? If you play, each note is singing in its own right. So if it's an ornament, what is it ornamenting? The C?
No, I'm not sure.
But you just showed me. It's ornamenting the E, isn't it? You see, just by adjusting the timing, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't sing the four notes, but maybe it isn't an equal part of the beat and therefore losing the sense of ornamenting the E. Because if you play ta la da 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 dee, ta la da 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 dee, now I hear it as an ornament. So I would just suggest that you time the beginning of that turn, that's the kind of ornament it is, a little bit later, so that we hear the principal note more. No, even late, I know you're so used to doing it, but you're doing it right on the beat. I even see your head. Ta la da da da, ti da 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 dee. Right. Yeah, you see? So it also then encourages you to think of a longer part of this final cadence rather than ta da 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 dee. Rather than three things, ya da 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 dee ya dum. Okay? Before that. No, before that. Before the F. Dee da da da. That's fine. Okay. Okay. What is connecting you to the G sharp, technically? What are you feeling in your hand? Yeah, how do you get to that? The A?
Yeah.
So let me hear the A. You see, you're a little bit fishing there. Yes? So for your practice, it's, well, I'll tell you what the general rule is. Every time you say a rule, of course, we can think of so many exceptions to it. But it's a good basic rule. If you practice going from the finger in the old position, which is the second finger, to that finger in the new position, which we agreed was A. So if you learn that, the G sharp is going to be there every time. But right now, you haven't learned that relationship. So you've played it about 6 times and it hasn't been there yet, the G sharp. So you could practice going different combinations. Anything to get your hand balanced in this position and not just diving for the G sharp. That's the important thing. Yeah? So let's try it from the E, ta, dum, pi, dum, and just think about connecting to the A as you play. You see, you were lazy going from that D. You can take as much time with the bow to make the phrase whatever you want it to be. But the left hand needs to be in 4th position, waiting to... No. That's it. So anticipation again of the new position. Okay, one more time from the E. La, dum, dum. Okay, look, doesn't matter. The first one was so much better. So much better. Did you feel it?
Yeah.
The difference? I mean, certainly to hear it. Now, when you have that confidence, you could dance a little bit more now musically. Before, I think you weren't able to because you were so worried about, am I going to get to the right position? Now you know how to get to the right position. How about dancing more with those duplets? Okay. Do you agree that this is just a pedal, yes? Or do you think it's an even valued note to the bottom voice?
Yeah, I agree.
Which?
The first.
The first.
Yeah.
So Let me hear just those notes separately like that, the duplets. So you see the responsibility of this left hand again on the D string is very, I know you use a different fingering, but feel every note. Yes, yes. So how about let me ask, from this upbeat, what's the upbeat? What note is it?
This A.
There's that A again. At the beginning, I think we agree, it's something that's singing. That whole opening phrase is singing. Is this the same character?
No.
What is this for you? I mean, what do you feel this? Well, think about it now. If you haven't thought about it before, let's just think about it now. You played the beginning, you were singing that phrase. Now what is this?
This is more like a little cadence.
Like a little cadenza, okay, that's good. So it's a little freer, a little more spontaneous maybe?
Yeah.
Not so this length of phrase. But that tells me part of the story. But the way you play the A is still a little bit like you're singing it. Is that what you feel it is? Is it a continuation of what came before?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
It's a kind of interruption or certainly a new voice, a new character. So why not find that from the beginning of the A?
Okay.
Try it right there on the A. Good. Now, if it is that character, something that like you're standing up and announcing something, I think, we haven't talked at all yet about vibrato, but I think your vibrato needs to help more. You still used the same vibrato as you used for... I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit, but you should feel that excitement in the vibrato, not just in the bow, with the left hand as well. Try again. How? This is still it's this kind of vibrato, a little bit on the slow side and a little bit wide, which could be absolutely gorgeous, but maybe not for this B. Maybe narrower and try it, just the B. Just the B. Don't worry about the A. Maybe. I mean, it's not just like putting on makeup or something. I'm not suggesting you do this superficially. I think if you're making this sound with the bow, that's making a certain kind of vibration. And I think this should be that same kind of vibration. What you're doing, you're trying to make it with the bow, but your vibrato is doing that. So it's actually fighting against what the bow is doing. Try to match what the bow is doing. That's it. That's better. That last just at the end. Now see if you can get that from the beginning of the B. Good, good. Now from the A. Okay, once more. You know, I talked about anticipation. I think that's here in a different kind of perspective. We also are talking about anticipation. You're anticipating that color, that quality of sound. And not just sitting here during the A and then put the B down however it happens to come. That while you play the A, you're already prepared to do that. Okay, good. That was much better, much better. That's the beginning of something, I think. And you also then changed the color very beautifully for the next. But I'm just, the fingering that you used, da 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 da. If you went to second position, I think it would be easier than. Then what do you do? Sorry, once more. Aha. If you decide you're going to do that, look, fingerings are very personal. So it's not my position to say you shouldn't do that, you should do this. But to accomplish what you want to do, which is this fluidity in that little arpeggiation. No, I mean you don't want to hear da 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 da. Then with your bow, you could help a little bit with the bow and not do it. You do it on a nut bow? That's better. That's better. But let's just look at the alternative. And try it down bow. Does that feel strange? Yeah. Right. I mean, if the first one is this very declamatory, you could come away more naturally that way than, but you'd have to start the trill down. Good. Okay, good. So, whichever way, the C, if the B was, it's quite different, yes? Not just in the bow, loud or soft, but in the texture of the sound, and you help to create that with your vibrato. So I know I'm pointing a lot at the left hand, but I think, those differences, sometimes very subtle, would really help a lot, particularly in a coloristic piece like this, because your vibrato stays too much the same. So define whatever that, or the other way. Yeah, but you tend with your vibrato to work your way into the sound that you want. Good. Okay, now this is different than anything we've had, isn't it? Maybe it's a little bit like ya-dum, ti-dum, ta-dum, ti-da-da-da-dee-dum, pa-dum. But because of what the piano is doing, it's really quite different musically. Could you just start right on it, right on your C? Yeah, but together? Okay. It's a little bit like, there's such a beautiful beach, obviously, near where we're staying in Tel Aviv. And I remember in Tel Aviv, it's almost always quite warm in the water. But there are different parts of the world where to go into the ocean, for me, is a very traumatic experience because it's so incredibly cold. And so I'll go down there and it'll take me 15 minutes to get in the water because I'll put my foot in and I'll wait till it gets used to the water. Then I'll put the other foot and, I slowly, and then I get up to my knees and then, this sort of thing. Well, you're starting the phrase a little bit like that. In other words, let's see if it's going to be all right. But if you just played right from the beginning with a smile on your face. Bravo, that's great. Okay, but now how do you get to it from what came before? Okay, but you don't want a big gap either. So here we come again with anticipation. Yeah, it's the something happens between the G and the C. Now, that's it. Bravo. Much better. For a passage like this, from the F, it might be interesting once to actually phrase it all the way to the E. So not like a hairpin, but could you try it? The second one was very good. You were understandably a little self-conscious the first time. But again, it's if your left hand and all those connections is as well coordinated as it was in this passage throughout this movement, you would then be free to think. I asked you at the beginning what you were thinking about. I think it's very important what we think about, what we conceive before we ever touch this box. And And then it's our responsibility and our job to try to make this box realize what we actually think about the musical phrase. And that means different colors, that means different intensities with vibrato as well as the bow, and et cetera, all those things. And you obviously can do it. I mean, you're quite quick at doing it. So if you just spent more time, and particularly the hard work, I mean, slow, listening between positions, organizing the hand better, you would be able to do even more of what we've been talking about here today. But I'm very impressed. Thanks very much. Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you very much.